Hello everyone, today we are going to find out how you heal in Final Fantasy XIV with this crap guide to Final Fantasy XIV healers. I'm wondering why this one is a crap guide, but I was told I should check this out because I can learn a few things about healing in this game. So yeah, let's have a look at this one.
I miss cons. If only there was some way I could go to one while also playing my favorite MMO, Final Fantasy Online. Wait a minute, I can! At Lunarcon!
What the heck?
Lunarcon is a free player-run in-game convention for Final Fantasy XIV in
What
order
is
to
that?
celebrate the new upcoming Endwalker expansion.
Okay.
It takes place on Crystal Data Center from July 30th to August 1st.
That's
There'll be panels,
interesting.
contests, performances, PvP tournaments, auctions.
Whoa, wait a second, PvP tournaments? How's actually PvP in Final Fantasy XIV? I haven't PvP'd yet, and how is it if you compare it to like other MMOs like World of Warcraft and ESO? That's interesting. So this is soon.
To August 1st. There will be panels, contests, performances,
Wow.
PvP tournaments, auctions, and you can even get your own Lunarcon badge. And hey, Ken, leader and founder of Lunarcon, is there anything else that people can possibly look forward to?
He's thinking, he's not sure what to say.
Don't put me on the spot like that.
Oh no.
Go to lunarcon.net to get more information.
I
on
will.
things. I love power, and I love feeling powerful. It strokes my biggly wiggly and forces lesser beings to bow down to my awesome might, lest they taste my boot between their gums. Nothing has ever given me the same rush of adrenaline than knowing that everybody has to submit to my whims for their own safety. It makes my brain do the goody-good chemicals and allows me to feel as though I have control over this truly
That's a cool
unfortunate
NPC.
reality that the universe is slowly careening into an eventual heat death, and there's nothing anybody can do about it.
Okay, that's
They are
deep.
inconsequential specks in this cruel and uncaring universe. But none of that matters, because look
Oh,
at this,
yeah?
I can pull my party members into a pit that kills them. I find that hilarious. Welcome to
You can actually do that too in Final Fantasy XIV, like troll other players and make them die, and you can like cause this. Let's have a look again. That's funny.
But none of that matters, because look at this, I can pull my party members into a pit that
How?
kills them. I find that hilarious. Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy.
They're gonna delete you from their friend list. Okay, the real guide is starting now, guys. Let's learn all about healing. Oh, wow.
The greatest power of all is the power to have control over people's lives, which is why the healer is the most likely party member to have a god complex. Right behind main tanks, mentors, and anybody who's an omnicrafter.
But that's true,
You
it's
are
so
the most
important.
person in the party, as you, along with the tank, are responsible for keeping the party alive by kissing their.
Yeah, but this is so true. Like, you can have in a group, or if you're raiding, you can have like one or two very shit DPS players. Like, it doesn't matter if you have like one or two that are like holding you a little bit back because they're not so good at, let's say, DPS. But when it comes to like freaking healers or tanks, if they are slacking in any way and they're not doing their job right, like, the whole group is just gonna wipe. It doesn't matter how good you are as a freaking DPS. If the tank can't aggro the monsters and stuff, or the healer can't keep up healing or constantly forgets players and doesn't have like an overview and overlook over the whole like battlefield and stuff. Yeah. That's sometimes why I'm a little bit afraid, like scared. Okay, not like really scared, but like a bit nervous to play like a tank or a healer. Because there's so much responsibility on me, but I really want to give also healer a shot. I would definitely level a healer job as well.
Party, as you, along with the tank, are responsible
Probably
for keeping the party
Astrologian,
alive by kissing their
or maybe
boo-boos and
Scholar.
slapping the bitch who made the boo-boo. That's right, as a healer, you do have to deal damage as well. Man, but it's called a healer, and healers are supposed to heal.
But you have dots and stuff you need to keep up,
Wrong!
right?
A healer's job is not necessarily to heal the party, but rather to keep them alive. And yes, there's a difference. There's gonna be a lot of downtime between heals, and you bet your afflatus rumpus that you're making the fight take longer than it has to if you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting for your next chance to cast Cure. What do you do when the party's full?
Usually have
What do you
dots
do
on
when the
healers
party's
here
full
too,
health,
right?
or even half
At least on
playing
ESO it was
sending
like this.
DPS the bad guys. No, I don't pay your sub. But when the fight takes too long, it starts to run up on
That's
everybody's
true.
nerves, and when you hit endgame, it serves you right. When the boss will wipe the party, cause you couldn't beat and rage. Sure, you're
I have a question, guys. Are there actually mechanics that happen after a certain amount of time? Like, I remember in like some raids that I used to do in like other MMOs that some bosses have like certain timers. It means like every 2-3 minutes a certain mechanic just happens, like a very broken OP AoE spin or something that a boss does or something else. Is that actually the same here in Final Fantasy XIV? Like, are there some mechanics that happen like each, let's say, 5 minutes or so? So if the group takes too long, the risk of wiping is really high.
for the most part, keeping the party alive with a variety of healing utilities.
Boss is this?
Some shields, but an equal amount of time you're casting those, you're also throwing in some extra DPS when time allows. Remember,
Yeah.
DPSing is just mitigating future damage. And if you're able to kill the current wave of dungeon mobs before they deplete the tank's HP, which by the way is going to regen to full by the time you reach the next mob pull anyway, what does it matter how low their HP gets? So yes, DPS when time allows. When does time allow? Well, I know you're scared of independence and thinking by yourself, but that's going to be a balancing act you'll have to figure out. However, my rule of thumb is the minimum amount of HP a party member has to be at is 1. But if that's too scary for your little fingies, ask yourself, will the enemy's next attack make your party member fall on their ass? If yes, heal so that it doesn't. If no, time to become a glare mage, motherfucker. As long as they're alive.
Oh, so you keep them always around half the health bar.
One caveat to doing your job right, and that's that everybody will hate you for it. Literally, by healing you start to generate a lot of aggro from the bad guys. So if you ever decide to heal before mob pulls in dungeons, it's important to stick close to the tank like an ERPer sticks to Vieira's wearing 2B thigh highs. Especially and suddenly 800 mobs.
I like that comparison. Yo, that's so accurate. But that is actually a freaking... Okay, I will still heal, okay, guys? Like, I will still try healing. But I didn't know that actually, that if you heal a party member, you're actually generating aggro and the mobs can, like, come after you instead of the tank. I didn't know that, so you have to time your heals here quite a lot. Like, you can't just use, like, let's say healing over time effects and keep them up, or like heal when someone lost like 20% health. So you really need to heal when you're like seeing people on like half their health bar or something, right?
Job right, and that's that everybody will hate you for it. Literally, by healing you start to generate a lot of aggro from the bad guys. So if you ever decide to heal before mob pulls in dungeons, it's important to stick close to the tank like an ERPer sticks to Vieira's wearing 2B thigh highs. And suddenly 800 mobs crash through the wall with a How to Fry Fairies cookbook. You can still do it, but you should know what you're getting into. Like live streaming and hoping that anybody will watch. As for your limit, I heard you like healing, so we put more healing in your healing so you can heal while you heal. Unfortunately, you won't be using any limit break aside from LB3 because LB1 and 2 just heal the party, and you already have plenty of band-aids and popsicles to do that on your own. LB3, however, is so potent in healing it resurrects.
Yeah, I want to go probably for Astrologian,
but
I will try Scholar too.
So it's best to be saved for when you at least have enough people to make a backup dancing crew. For the flavors of healer, we have 3 boomers and the new kid on the block who
the boomers and
the white mage is the most straightforward. You heal when a buddy is hurt and you attack when they're not. Just about everything in your arsenal is all about.
Yo, but those are facts what he said about like the boomers and like the new kid. Like usually that's like actually the way like MMOs are. Like maybe like a fourth or something of like the players are like younger, right? And like the real old school players or those that have been playing MMOs for like 5, 6, 7, 8+ years, like a certain one, like they're usually the boomers.
Has a TikTok. The white mage is the most straightforward. You heal when a buddy is hurt and you attack when they're not. Just about everything.
I think WoW has the most boomers
so much it'll make an inflation
because of the age of the game, right?
You're also equipped with the best AoE skill in the entire game, and the
I'm like a boomer too, man. I mean, I'm 30, so.
Really bad. Best of all, when your buddies get hurt, you can heal them to harness their blood for the blood lily. But let's say you want to play white mage, but you like tarot readings and star signs, like a suburban woman in her mid to late 20s.
Star signs
is probably for you. That will enhance the abilities of your.
Okay, I'm into star signs, I guess.
With enough space dust and
I actually love this job a lot.
5 layers of sunglasses to see. Taking this job will also teach you how to build a bomb.
Oh, really?
Friendly. Scholar is a weirdo who used to hang out with all the bad DPS kids, but decided to turn their life around when they met a nice girl who supports them in their new hobby.
Oh, the fairy.
She knows nothing about your hobby, and you have to keep correcting her on fandom trivia. They're all about putting shields and defensive buffs that protect the party from taking damage in the first place.
But I can go easy.
DPS even more. Also, your girlfriend can get thick. And finally, the new.
But this is something I would probably actually get first, the Scholar, because I'm playing on Arcanist, so I will soon be a Summoner. And I've heard that if I level up Summoner, I also level up Scholar, right? So I don't need to grind that. So maybe my first healer role will be Scholar, or I will just grind Astrologian. Because I think I like Astrologian the most from all 3 healer specs. Because I think that looks so cool, like with the cards you can summon. And the way like the gameplay feels from some clips that I saw.
From taking damage in the first place. That way they can guess what? DPS even more. Also, your girlfriend can get thick. And finally, the new kid on the block, the Sage. A scholar who decided
Sage
to stop
is
being
coming.
nice and pick up a
Should I go for that?
Shoots lasers! Like
yeah,
Scholar,
that's
they also
cool.
put shields and protective buffs on their party members so they can spend more time shooting lasers!
Wait,
How did they do this? After seeing Alphino change to the job, my guess is the Nullists are liquefied carbuncles. Rest in peace, Carby. And now you know how to play healer. You're welcome.
Oh my god, they will get rid of Scholars then. I'm actually worried about the Sage replacing Scholars. That was a very, very interesting guide, guys. Like Like, but that's exactly why I'm sometimes like worried to like heal or tank. Like, if I make like one mistake, everyone's gonna point the finger at me. Like, usually I don't make mistakes, but every full moon or so I do make a mistake too in games. And I feel like as a DPS, it's like way more forgiving if, for example, you die one time or something. Like, someone just rests you, or you just regroup or something and attempt again. But if you're like on a healer or like a tank and you mess up, I feel like a lot of people are just gonna like rage quit or blame you and stuff. It's far worse than if you mess up on a DPS, right? But yeah, that's interesting actually, that healers also can like aggro mobs and stuff. Like, I thought this is only for like tanks and like maybe DPS, that they can like aggro mobs. Like, I always thought if you're like a high DPS, that if the tank doesn't constantly like use the aggro attack or something, that they come at you, right? If you do too much DPS. But that healers actually do this too when they heal. So you have to be really, really, really a good tactician as a healer, like when to heal. And if you like spam heals too often, then you get like all the mobs to attack you. I didn't know that. I definitely learned a lot from this guide. It's called A Crap Guide to Final Fantasy XIV healers. But in my opinion, this is actually a good guide, not a crap guide. Like, I learned a lot of things about healer and also what kinds of healers we have. Like with the shields and stuff. The Sage looks also interesting. He does something similar to the Scholar, so I want to know like what they are going to do with Scholar and Endwalker. If they will actually change the job a tiny bit, or change like Sage again, I don't know. But that's so interesting. And yeah, with the DPS, I used to play Elder Scrolls Online a lot before I started playing World of Warcraft. And I was on a Magicka Templar there, and it was normal in like rage, like dungeon runs, to put down ground AoEs and damage over time effects on like mobs, right, and bosses. So I'm pretty used to that. I think I will not have a problem if I heal in this game with like keeping up damage while healing. Like, I can multitask that. I already have like years of experience in that, so it shouldn't be too hard for me. But yeah, I think that's also cool though, that you do have some damage capabilities as a healer, because if you're like really loving the healer so much that you main it all the time, you can actually quest on a healer, then that means, right? Because healers also have damaging skills. So if you're playing solo and you're like questing, farming stuff, even though it's probably like less efficient, you can still somehow do that on a healer. I think that's so cool on Final Fantasy, or about Final Fantasy XIV. Their tanks and healers still have damage abilities and stuff, and they don't like noodle whip, they actually do some damage, right? So that's pretty nice. But yeah, guys, that's it for today's video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to hit the like button. This will really help out with the YouTube algorithm. I wish everyone a wonderful day. Please stay all safe and healthy. And I will see you guys next time.